Peace reflections. I love myself. Oh shit, it's raining. I wanted to kind of build off of what Carbonation was talking about. You know, focus on the message and not the messenger. And I wanted to go into why we as people do that. So I'm going to be talking about the psychologies of, you know, growing up in America, at least. You know, going from kid or going from child to a grown child. Because, you know, we're not really acting like adults nowadays. So, the basis of let's go back to when we were children. You know, when we first beamed into this realm. You know, we have a fresh perspective. We have a fresh belief. There's no complete understanding of life. You don't even know you exist. And so, you know, growing up in your early childhood, if you were born into Babylon, then you were born into hell. And so what that means is, it's a dog-eat-dog world. And, you know, you might be a child, or you might have been a child that wanted to express itself, you know, freely, but you couldn't do so because, you know, you were told to shut up, sit down, you know, and do what I tell you to do. So you didn't really have, you know, an outlet. And so, you know, you get put around, you know, video games, and let's go into video games a little bit. So most of the video games out, you know, at least back when I was a child, or back when everybody's a child, you know, we play racing games or fighting games, and you know, if you're playing with, you know, say you're playing with your brother and your sister, or you're playing with friends for a long period of time, the point of the game is to beat the other person, right? It's to beat everyone else. The point of the game isn't to have everybody win. Like, normally you wouldn't just, you know, be the one in first place and slow down and wait for everybody else to catch up so y'all all can cross the finish line at the same time. No. You know, you would want to beat their ass. And also, if someone's beating you at your own game, 9 times out of 10 you'd be mad. And so I use that. Let's compare that to Nature Boy. And since he's doing the right thing, living the right way, you know, he makes mistakes along the way. Obviously, everybody does. But when normal people, you know, look at him, they kind of get that competitive vibe, and since he's doing better than them, they hate on him. Just like in a video game, if somebody's beating your ass in a video game, you're gonna be mad. You're not gonna be like, oh, hey, great job. You know, 9 times out of 10 you won't. And so, you know, video games is one avenue that most of us have went down. You know, another avenue is, you know, sports. You play with a team. You know, you get the people you most, you know, connect with, you have the most synergy with, and y'all playing against other people. And anybody who isn't on your team, you gotta beat. You got to try to overcome. Same concept. You know, Nature Boy has his own team, and they're all winning, and they're gonna continue to win. And you could be winning too, but you're too busy focused on beating him. But you can't beat the truth. You can only join the truth and be the truth. You can't beat the truth. There's no beating the truth. You can't debunk the information that he's saying, because it's fact. It's you know, it's solidified. So that these are all some things that we have been, you know, mentally these are all things that we don't realize that we've, you know, participated in our past growing up, and maybe even still now, that we don't realize has an effect on our life outside of it. We think that, oh, we just play, you know, sports, or oh, we just play video games, or oh, we just fight, we just box, you know, we just do MMA, we do martial arts, you know. I mean, not the discipline itself. I'm talking about like the competitiveness. And you know, you have people around you. Maybe you haven't been playing games. You haven't played sports. You've been kind of like a loner, and maybe you wanted friends. And you know, the people around you, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, they did, you know, they played video games. They, you know, played sports. They, you know, were raised by businessmen, business family, and you know, I tried going to the business industry, and it wasn't really for me, because you have to, you know, you have to be a strong will. It's all about who you know, and then on top of that, you kind of just taking advantage of other people. There's nothing that we do in society is to help everyone. And I'm not talking about everyone in your circle. I'm talking about everyone everywhere. And so we point the finger at other people when they're winning, right? Instead of being the change, like being the example, be the, you know, the positive influence in the world. Or, you know, if you're just hating just to hate, then, you know, it's hard to get you to see anything, because you are so fixed in your belief and you think everything is real. And you know, so if you somehow tuned into Nature Boy, you hear the information and it's true. And if you feel compelled to say anything about it, if you knew who you truly were and you knew everything that you knew was fact, you would have no reason to force it upon somebody else. Like, if you knew the way life works and you understand all the facts about life, and you saw someone else, you know, saying something that wasn't true, you wouldn't feel compelled to bash them, to attack them. And you know, you'd kind of just sit back in your wisdom. You would understand that they, you know, they don't see life the way I do, and you know, it's kind of a long, complicated process for me to explain all of this to them, because you got to go all the way back to when they were, you know, a child, or what they went through, you know, and so they could really get it. You can't just give them information and expect them to take it. So, you know, I hey buddy, just chilling. So they, you know, Professor Tron, Professor Ace, and Professor Natural went in on that video. Like, seriously, they kind of just you know, said some factual shit, as always. You know, it was some real raw shit. And as I'm growing in my own journey, you know, I'm gonna be putting out a lot more content. I'm gonna be a little more focused on the psychologies of everything growing up. So instead of just putting out the information, the divine truth, divine knowledge of self, biology, astrology, psychology. I'm gonna go into that, and also, all the little traditions in society, and also Professor Natural's earlier video, letting go of old traditions was spot on as well. We grow up in a society that only speaks death, and we don't realize this. We overindulge in it, and we love it so much, and we don't realize that we're the demons, because we don't want to be the demons. We never want to be wrong. Like I said before, it's a dog-eat-dog world. Like, you have been conditioned through video games, through sports, through business, through school, through your parents, through how they treated you, through genetically modified information, through genetically modified organisms that you've eaten and put into your body that governs your behavior. Everybody wants to be a tiger and a lion, but you ain't a tiger and a lion. You a human being. You're not supposed to be eating the world. You're supposed to be of the world. And you can't be of Babylon. If you're of Babylon, then all you're doing is consuming. For you to get higher in Babylon, you have to push someone else down. For you to have, you have to take from somebody else. Who you giving back to? And it's a war back and forth. Black Lives Matter, black against white. White supremacy. We don't realize that we all came from the same point. All of us. We're not different. The only difference, in us is our mentality, like how we think. How we think governs how we act. So if you're retarded, so retarded means to be mentally underdeveloped, that would mean that you're probably somebody who's in Babylon that wanted to be so intelligent in your life that you studied your ass off. You wanted to learn everything about everything, all this nonsense, and none of it you never questioned any of it. Like you were raised to learn and accept your knowledge, but not learn and question your knowledge. You never questioned your mentality. You never questioned how you think the way you think. You never questioned the information you learned. You were just like, oh, what was that? You were just like, oh, that's what that does? Okay, cool. You just learned it. You never really thought about it and thought about what that meant to you. You were just like, nah, it's just, this is what they do, and I'm me, and I'm separate from them. It's the illusion of separation. You have no knowledge of self. You don't know that. You probably don't even know how the brain works. You still think everything is real. And I know people who do know how the brain works. I know people that do know that we are all made of matter, and everything that we see in our external world is light reflecting into our eyes that send electrical signals to the back of our brain that show us our reality. So everything that we see is coming from the back of our head that's encased in darkness. People know that, and they still think it's real. That's what I'm talking about. So we have to understand that there's something going on here. Why isn't everybody seeing the truth? They hear the truth. You're not supposed to be eating meat. It creates cancer. You're not supposed to be smoking cigarettes. You're not supposed to be, in a cold environment because you're cold as fuck. If you can't, be outside in your natural skin, naked, then you're in the wrong environment. And so Those people who hear the truth, they don't have the truth within them. It has to spark something in you. It has to shake your DNA, like your body literally has to vibrate. You have to get the chills. The chills is when you hear something truth and your cells understand it, and they all start like jumping for joy because it's some real shit. And we don't understand that our cells give us our thoughts. Our cells are who we are. Our chakras are who we are. Our astrological energies are who we are. You know, people are here. Some people are here to be, divine beings. If you want to be a divine being, you can't hate on another divine being. That don't make sense. If someone's a divine being, they're calling themselves God. They have an understanding that everything is God. They heard the truth, and the truth sparked something in them and compelled them to live the truth, and compelled them to do what's right at all times. And when they start doing what's right, or they start not eating meat, and they start hanging out with you, and you calling them out like, oh, you used to eat meat? Like, no, you love that smell. You acting like a demon. That's what demons do. Demons drag you down. Demons don't uplift you. You don't want to be a demon, and you want to be, a good person. You want to be a divine being. You may not want to be God because you think God is, some one entity that's coming here to save you, or like that's controlling your life, which is like, everything is you. Nothing is outside of you. You are it. If you were not here, if you weren't looking at this video right now, if you weren't alive or existing in this realm, none of this would exist. Think about that. Like, think about you yourself, you by yourself, you, right? So now think about if you died tomorrow, would this exist? Would this place exist? No, it only exists because you exist. You walk past millions of people. You fly past millions of people. There's billions of people on this planet that you don't know exist. You only know probably less than how many friends you got on Facebook. Less than how many followers you got on Instagram. That's how many you've seen up close in person. What is that? So, like, I ask you to start. If you're watching Nature Boy and you're tuned in, it's for a reason. Like, you gotta focus on that message, focus on that information, and apply it to your life to see if it works. I be talking to people. I talk to some of the smartest people on the planet, and their intelligence just goes to waste. There's people that I know that know so much, and as soon as I say some real factual shit to them, they're like, nah, I never heard of that. That's not how it works. And I'm just like, you don't even want to talk about it. Like, that's how. Like, if you get mad, there's no reason for you to get mad. If you think about like why people get mad, why people get angry, that's because they're either hurt, from a past experience or something that you did, or something psychological, happens within them that convicts them of their demons. They, like, in their being, like, mentally they're convinced that they're not wrong, but in their being of who they truly are, they know that they're wrong, and they're mad that they can't accept that, and so their mind translates that hurt, because they're not mad, their being is sad that they can't accept that, and then translate it, so that sadness turns into anger, and they lash out and try to get away from you. And these are the people that you need to get away from. You need to let go. If no one wants to fight their own demons, then you can't be around people that don't fight their own demons. You can't, because they're not growing. They're not growing, mentally at all. You can stuff all the information in your head as you want. That doesn't mean you're growing at all. Everybody grows up in America to be the same exact type of person in set categories. That's how you grow up and be successful in Babylon. And all those categories are either categories of slaves or slave masters. If you're successful, then you're probably a slave master. And do you? If your energy is aligned up with that and that makes you happy, I'm happy for you. I just want you to know that if we all look at each other like cells, and the body is the earth, and if you're taking from nature, which was here before you, which is the real matrix, and it was here for a reason, then you have to understand that society is the cancer. All these cities are the tumors. And what do cancers do? Cancers, they don't know that they're a part of the body, so they operate against the body. They take from the body, take up all the space, and then consume themselves. They die. So we're ending the end times, because now people are waking up to the truth and knowing the truth and looking and finding the facts, and finding nature boy, finding carbonation, and really applying this stuff to their life. It may be hard for them because now they have to come out of where you came from. They have to come out of where everybody in society came from. And they were just like all these fuckboys out here. They were just like all these people that know everything, and they don't want to challenge their own beliefs. They don't want to challenge their own information. When they get to a point where they can't explain it no more, they can't go any further. Like, they'll tell you what they know about something, and then if they can't go any further, they get mad and push it away. So, there's divine beings out here that do that too, as well. Me, including myself. But we have to check that. We have to stay objective, stay focused on what we want, and let go of people that don't deal with their demons, that don't deal with their old mental programs, and sacrifice that so you can have space for what you want. And then somebody else is going to come into your life, another place is going to come into your life, some other thing is going to come into your life and show you yourself again. And next time it'll be constructive interference instead of destructive interference. So you guys are growing together, and you guys can keep going for however as long as you want. You're gonna always need people. You're gonna always need people. You're gonna always need people to show you your demons, because you can only think about so much on your own without someone bringing something else out of you. Like, you can be like, oh, I worked on myself. I know my mind. I'm doing everything correctly. And you were by yourself. You were isolated. And now when you get to people, suddenly y'all arguing. Why y'all arguing? If you knew everything about yourself and you were on the right path, and you've progressed mentally and spiritually, why are you arguing with this person? Why can't you get this person to see what you know? Is it possible that you might not know as much as you think you know? Because if you did, wouldn't you be able to explain it to this person in a way that will help them understand? And let's say you did. Let's say actually before that, if y'all arguing and you're going back and forth, and something sparks in you, and if you get mad, you're probably, there's a lesson for you to learn, because there's usually lessons on both ends for you guys both to grow. So I'm going to talk about that first. So there's a lesson for you to learn if you get mad. There's a lesson for you to learn if you don't want to talk or have a conversation. Like an adult. Like, if you don't just like if you feel like you're being attacked, you should never feel like you're being attacked. If you had an understanding of somebody else, and you would understand why they're saying things to you that might make you feel like you're being attacked, but now you can understand that, okay, that person probably doesn't understand this part about life. They don't understand this part about themselves. So, like, what they have to say really has nothing to do with me. And I thought there was another one, but I can't really think of it right now. And and then there's another scenario where, you know, you did learn your lesson from that interaction, because there's been many times where I've been, you know, having conversations with people, and I've been giving my ideas, or putting out what I think, and they've been putting out what they think, and then I sit back and analyze the situation. I'm like, okay, they're saying this for a reason, so let me think about it. You know, there has to be some truth in there. Like, I'm going to look for truth now, because 9 times out of 10 you find what you look for, and most people look for negativity. They look for how this person is trying to best you in a conversation, so they can one up you. I'm not about that. You know, I may be subconsciously about that, because I've been grown. I've been portaled into hell, and I've been programmed by it. But now that I'm aware of it, I'm looking for the truth in people's words, and if I don't find it in the truth, I know it's bullshit. So you know, let's say me, I'm talking to somebody, and we both, you know, forcing our ideas on each other, and I'm looking for the truth in his words, his or her words, and I find it, and I'm like, oh, okay, like he's right about this. I need to stop doing this. Like, I understand why he's saying this, so, you know, maybe I could work on it a little more, and and at that point, my cells start to vibrate. I get the chills, and I'm like, okay, cool. So now I just learned a lesson, and now I'm calm, but he's still elevated. You know, he's still at 100, and so now I'm trying to tell this person that I just learned that I agree with what he was saying, and I just learned the lesson, but still, you still have to look at this. Then that person's going to be like, if that person, you know, is a normal person, and you learn your lesson and they didn't, they're going to be like, oh, no, you don't really understand, because you're still focused on this, blah, 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 and they're still trying to get you to see the same thing and not look at them, because they don't want to look at themselves. At that point, if you tried, you know, depending on how much you love that person, you can try again later. But if you don't really feel like you need that person so much in your life, you gotta let that go, because that person is not gonna see themselves. And 9 times out of 10, when you give that person space anyway, they're gonna think about themselves, and then maybe they'll come back to you and be like, yo, I'm sorry, and then y'all can talk about it. But if they come back to you, make sure you bring it back up, so you know that person dealt with it and got over it. If that person did, then that person is evolving. If that person didn't, then that person's lying and they're bullshitting you, and you're wasting your fucking time. Get out of there. Yeah, so, like, I just wanted to talk about, you know, a few things that, you know, we as society do growing up that affects our actions, you know, towards others, you know, and like Professor A said, he said, people aren't hating on something that isn't important. Like, if they hate on you, then that means that what you're doing is of relevance. Like, someone has to secretly like what you're doing to pay attention to it enough to try to debunk it every single time, because they want to see if you're right subconsciously, but consciously they're trying to make you look like you're wrong. And instead of applying it themselves, because they don't have time for that apparently, but they got time to hate on you, you know, instead of focusing on themselves, they focus on the messenger, you know, and not the message. They indulge in lower self activity, and, you know, we as, you know, the chosen, you know, light workers, indigos, children of God, divine beings, we have to continue to move forward, you know. We got to keep working, you know. And I just wanted to say thank you to Carbonation and Master Teacher Nature Boy, my enlightener. You know, because he really showed me myself. He really gave me back my own mind, because, you know, I've been kind of trapped in Babylon for so long, and I knew it wasn't right from the start as a child, and growing up in it, like, you know, I just sucked. I sucked at Babylon, honestly. Like, I couldn't do Babylon at all, and I still can't do Babylon, really. Yeah, and, you know, one other thing, I also wanted to say that I appreciate Mama Dia. You know, I know she transitioned, you know, but she's still with us. You know, y'all are Mama Dia, I am Mama Dia. I'm really glad I got to, you know, let her know how much I appreciated her before she transitioned out of here. You know, and there's no rest in peace. It's only work in peace. Just like Carbonation said, you know, whip. It's time to whip Babylon's ass. You know, gotta feed them that Babylonian cheese sandwich. You know, and send them on their way. Anyway, I love myself. Peace. Share if you care.